Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football mock draft on Sleeper app. But before I start the video, I'd like to ask if you guys could please click the subscribe button down below or on the screen where my cursor is, and click the notification bell to get notified for daily fantasy football videos. I'd also like to shout out a user named Pat Yes who comments on a lot of my videos. Shout out to you, and shout out to everyone else who's commenting on my videos. I really appreciate it. So today we are doing a 12-team PPR draft and the 10 slot on Sleeper app. The way to get to Sleeper app is just Google Sleeper app mock draft, or to go on your phone, download the Sleeper app, and then go into the mock drafts on there. So the roster settings are one quarterback, two running backs, two receivers, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and six bench spots. So if anyone has any other things specific they want to see in a draft, leave a comment down below, and I am going to do a super flex draft for the user who always asks about that. I like rating his comments; they're always pretty good. Shout out to you, Kevin. So let's start the video here. So the first pick is Saquon, followed by Zeke, Christian McCaffrey, David Johnson, Alvin Kamara, D Hop, Melvin Gordon, Michael Thomas, and then Le'Veon Bell. So pretty typical first four picks except for David Johnson. Usually it's Alvin Kamara instead of David Johnson. So usually it's Saquon, Zeke, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara in no particular order. Usually I go Saquon first if I have the first pick, but that doesn't matter. The first nine picks are pretty typical of what you're going to be seeing in these kind of drafts. And normally I want to go running back here, but I see this is full PPR, and I see such high ability in Devontae Adams being my wide receiver one. Starting off with a guy who I know is going to be scoring great points week in and week out. I don't know why that guy went Michael Thomas instead of Devontae Adams. So we're going to go Devontae Adams here at a steal at the 10th pick. Normally you're not going to be seeing him available at the 10th spot in a 12-team PPR league. After we go Devontae Adams, Odell Beckham's picked, followed by Joe Mixon, James Conner, and Julio Jones. So normally I would never go two receivers at the beginning of the draft because I don't enjoy doing that. I could see a reason in doing it when you can get a guy like Devontae Adams and match him with Juju, Antonio Brown, or Mike Evans. But at the same time, I still don't like doing that because I don't feel like my running back depth will be as good. So at our pick, we're gonna go running back here. We're gonna go with a guy I like a lot. Normally, it's either between Damian Williams or Nick Chubb, but we're gonna go Nick Chubb today. Even though I do like Damian Williams a lot, I say this every single time. There's just two guys that I like a lot, and I think Actually, we're gonna go Damian Williams because I think he's less risky now than Chubb. I've been going back and forth between Damian Williams and Chubb, trying to figure out which guy I would rather draft. And the reason why I'm not drafting Dalvin Cook or Todd Gurley is because his left, or not his left knee, one of his knees has arthritis, and you don't want that on your team. You don't want a guy coming into the season with an injury. And for Dalvin Cook, he has the injury history, and I want to try to not draft any injured players in the first couple of rounds, try to be safe, you know? So we're going to go Damian Williams here. I have to go Damian Williams. I wouldn't hate picking Damian Williams or Chubb here. After Damian Williams went, uh, Keenan Allen goes, followed by Nick Chubb, Juju Smith-Schuster, Todd Gurley, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Antonio Brown, Amari Cooper, Travis Kelce, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Freeman, Stephen Diggs, Zach Ertz, Kerryon Johnson, and now it's our pick. So, like you notice, first quarterback went off the board, Patrick Mahomes at the 3-5. Patrick Mahomes is going to be picked typically in like the third or fourth round in these mock drafts, but in your at-home league, if you have draft with guys who aren't as fantasy, who are like huge fantasy guys, Patrick Mahomes may go in the first or second round due to his big name and the 50 touchdowns he put up last year that he's probably not going to put up again this year. Sorry to tell you that if you're a Patrick Mahomes guy who thinks that he's going to throw 50 touchdowns again, which is very improbable. The first tight end comes off the board at the end of the second round, which is Travis Kelce. Normally, you're going to see Travis Kelce go in the first or second round. The back half of the second is pretty late for Travis Kelce, and if that guy starting off Saquon, Travis Kelce, Mike Evans is a great start. Zach Ertz, the second tight end off the board, comes at the 3-8, which is pretty typical for his draft position. So that is not something I would hate. And Zach Ertz's friend, may not be friends in real life, but George Kittle The other big three tight end is going to come soon after in the first 4 rounds. Normally, all three of them are gone, or even in the first 3 rounds. So it's our pick, and we want to go running back here to get our two starting running backs completely picked here because the running backs do fall off the later we get in the draft. So we're looking at guys here: Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery. Out of those four guys, I think I like Josh Jacobs the most due to Leonard Fournette's injury history and him not taking pictures and getting fucking benched, all types of shit like that. We don't want that. Josh Jacobs is the guy I like the most due to his. I think they're just going to run him into the ground on Oakland. They picked him highly. But the one thing I am looking out for is the fact that he hasn't signed his contract. I recorded this video on Wednesday, so if by Thursday he signed his contract, then completely avoid what I just said, but the fact that he hasn't signed his contract yet is obviously something to look out for. If he doesn't sign his contract by like the first 2 weeks of training camp or a weekend of preseason, then you're probably going to see him getting benched because guys like Gruden don't fuck around. So don't draft fucking Josh Jacobs if that happens. Okay, so after we pick Josh Jacobs, Leonard Fournette goes, followed by AJ Green, Kittle Me Timbers, George Kittle, and Derrick Henry. So it's our pick again. And the wide receivers are looking pretty juicy, but as I always preach, you need to be getting these running backs on your team before the tier really breaks off here. And while I'm not going to be starting David Montgomery as the flex instantly, I do see David Montgomery being a guy that you can flex a few weeks in after he completely steals the number one job and becomes the number one guy on such a pretty good offense in Chicago, and when they have a defense that can keep their other offense off the field, that means Montgomery's going to have a lot of time to run all over the opposing defenses. So we're going to go David Montgomery here. I like him a lot, and I like him a lot more than when the season initially started. I don't see anything really in Tariq Cohen anymore. I'd stray the fuck away from him. So we're going to go David Montgomery here. After we go David Montgomery, Julian Edelman's pick, followed by Kenny Galladay, Tariq Hill, Philip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, Robert Woods, Kenyon Drake, Brandon Cooks, Andrew Luck, Sonny Michel, James White, Calvin Ridley, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, Sean Watson. Now it's our picks. So 3 tight ends have went and 4 quarterbacks have went. Like I said earlier, you may see Rodgers go in the 3rd round in your at-home draft, depending on how good or how much people like quarterbacks. And if you're in a super flex league, you're obviously going to see them go, or in a 2 quarterback league in the first 3 rounds, you're going to see a shit ton go. If you want to see some super flex content or 2 quarterback content, go on my channel. There's a bunch of videos about that. But now we need to get our second wide receiver since we already have 3 running backs. And I'm not too high on picking one of these tight ends right now, and I think I can wait till like the 7th round and get a guy like Vance McDonald. So the running backs I don't really like right here. So what are we going for receiver? And we're going to go for a receiver that I really like a lot, and I think that could have a huge year this year, and that is going to be Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd is going to probably end up being a wide receiver too, even when AJ Green's on the field. And when AJ Green goes down, I think he can even be better. Even though last year believe he played better when AJ Green was on the field. I think that I would much rather have Boyd than AJ Green, even though AJ Green is obviously picked a lot higher. Having Boyd picked later and being a guy that I think could be scoring a bunch of touchdowns, high upside on him. I also at this pick would go Mike Williams or DJ Moore. Those are guys I also like, but I'd rather go Boyd here in this situation. So after we pick Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore comes off the board, followed by Tariq Cohen, who I said not to draft, Jarvis Landry, and Mike Williams. So if we were to draft, we would have wanted Mike Williams here. So we are probably just going to go running back here to get that solid depth that you so need in fantasy football to win them championships. So we're in the 6th round, so it's a little too high in my opinion to go Darrell Henderson, and we don't even have Todd Gurley. So we're just going to go with old reliable Lamar Miller. Now, Lamar Miller starting to fall down for me. Not a guy I'm targeting as often, even though I did kind of start targeting him like in every single draft recently, but I do still like his upside. I don't know if Donta Foreman is that guy. Uh, Reports are coming out that he may be the guy that eventually submerges and steals Lamar Miller's spot. But as of right now, I think Lamar Miller is going to be that guy that scores you 12 points every week. Doesn't score you like 30 points, but is always that solid flex option when you need him. That's why we're going Lamar Miller here. After we pick Lamar Miller, OJ Howard comes off the board, followed by Tevin Coleman, Baker Mayfield, Darius Geis, Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram, Alshon Jeffrey, Sammy Watkins, Rashad Penny, Matthew Ice, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, Darrell Henderson, David Njoku, Drew Brees, Latavius Murray, and now it's our pick. And let's see. We have 4 running backs, 2 receivers, no tight end, and we're going to probably go with a upside receiver here for our for our bench since we already got our starters. And we're going to go with a guy who has a lot of potential in Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard could end up being the one. He's going to end up being the one on the Giants. I don't think Golden Tate's that guy. I think that even though Eli or Daniel Jones might not be the best, having the wide receiver one on any team is going to be good for you. Now, I don't think you can necessarily start him every week, but I think that he's a guy that in the 7th or 8th round I'd like to target a lot because of the upside he has. So we're going to go Sterling Shepard here. After we went Sterling Shepard, Kyler Murray was picked, followed by Russell Wilson, Allen Robinson, and I believe Eric Ebron, yes. So at the current moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 12 teams already have quarterbacks in the 8th round, which is no biggie. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams have a tight end. So right now we're going to select the tight end that we want. And normally we go Vance McDonald, but I think Jared Cook is probably going to have a great year with Drew Brees, so I'm pretty confident in going Jared Cook here. Even though I'm not too much of a fan of him, but I do think that he could probably have a great season. Brees is a great quarterback. He's on a great offense. It's him, Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Alvin Kamara, all great players on Latavius Murray with one of the greatest quarterbacks playing the game. So that's why I'm going Jared Cook here. And hopefully Breeze likes him like he liked Jimmy Graham in years past. So after we went Jared Cook, Will Fuller comes off the board, followed by Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Kareem Hunt, Donta Foreman, Bears defense, Larry Fitz, Geronimo Allison, Marvin Jones, Royce Freeman, Vance McDonald, LaShawn McCoy, DK Metcalf, Austin Eckler, uh, N'Keal Harry, Ronald Jones, Jalen Samuels, Corey Davis. But before I make this pick, I want to ask you guys, could please remind you to click the subscribe button, click the notification bell to get notified for every single video that I make. So let's get back into the draft. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, if you've forgotten, 3 receivers, and a tight end. So we are going to want to get at least 1 running back and 1 receiver in this next pick, and then just tank the quarterback position. I want to talk about let's see some picks. After we went Jared Cook, I want to talk about the Bears defense. Don't be picking the Bears defense this early. I mean, in the 10th round, I could see why you might want to reach, but in my opinion, I don't like reaching for defenses at all. But at the 8th round pick, I would not advise doing that. The only time I'd really do that is if it was like an 8-team league where having the best defense could prove to be so advantageous. But at the same exact time, streaming defenses in an 8-team league is 90 times easier than in a 12-team league or a 14-team league or even a 10-team league. So it's our pick. And a running back that I want will fall to us here. So we can go with a guy that I like a lot at the receiver position, which is I like D.D. Westbrook or Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I'd be happy with either of these guys, but I do like Marquez Valdes-Scantling slightly more due to him being on a better team than the Jags. He's on Green Bay. He's going to end up potentially being the wide receiver 2 on the team behind DeAndre Hopkins. I think Geronimo Allison may not be that guy, so we are going to target MVS here, and just like we're going to target him in a lot of drafts. So we're going to go MVS here and hope that he gets that wide receiver 2 position. By the time preseason rolls around, we're going to actually figure out who's the 2, at least for the start of the season. But as of right now, I think it is going to be Marquez Valdes-Scantling. After we went MVS, D.D. Westbrook went, followed by Cam Newton, Jared Goff. So now every team has a quarterback and are starting to pick backup quarterbacks. And right about now is when I would start to panic and pick a quarterback. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I get some running backs that I like at the back of the draft. So we're going to have to go with the guys we want. Hopefully Peyton Barber falls to us. Actually, we'll just go quarterback here so that I know that I get Jameis Winston, a guy who I like targeting a lot in these drafts. If you're in a league that penalizes heavily for interceptions, that I wouldn't go Jameis Winston because he's throwing picks, but in a lot of leagues they don't penalize you too heavily for interceptions, so that's why I like Jameis Winston. He's a guy that's going to sling the ball. Mike Evans probably going to have a great year. Chris Godwin's going to have a great year. And I think if they could figure out the running game out, and if O.J. Howard can stay healthy, I think that Jameis Winston in a Bruce Arians offense could potentially be a, a great sleeper pick in the 10th round and finish as a probably top 8 quarterback. So we're going to go Jameis. After we go famous Jameis, Jerick McKinnon is picked, followed by Jacksonville Jaguars, Golden Tate, Austin Hooper, Cortland Sutton, Carlos Hyde, Kiki Cootie, Philip Rivers, Curtis Samuels, Dante Moncrief, Damian Harris, LA defense, uh, Emmanuel Sanders, Tom Brady, Deshaun Jackson, Adrian Peterson, McCole Hardman, and Alexander Madison. So we are going to be going running back here, and we want to lock down the running back that I like the most here, which is Peyton Barber, due to his upside of potentially being the number one on Tampa Bay, and having the number one running back on any team is good, especially out at the 11th round mark that you're getting him at. Cheap price. After we went Peyton Barber, Ito Smith went, followed by TJ Hawkinson, James Washington, and Greg Zuerlein. So we currently have two more bench spots before we go with our kicker and defense, and we currently have 5 running backs to 4 receivers, and you want to finish with more running backs than receivers, like I always say. So we're gonna go with the high upside of Dion Lewis potentially becoming the or getting all the touches or getting all the receiving work in Tennessee. I don't know if they're necessarily super in on Derrick Henry. I'm not super in on Derrick Henry, so I think getting Dion Lewis in the 12th, who could potentially get a lot of that passing work on Tennessee, is advantageous. So after we went Deion Lewis, Devin Singletary was selected, followed by Big Ben, Dak Prescott, 2 defenses, Tyrell Williams, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baltimore defense, Naheem Hines, Delaney Walker, Justice Hill, Paris Campbell, Anthony Miller, Marquise Brown, Houston Texans, Deshaun Hamilton, Devin Funchess. So now, since we selected a guy like Jameis Winston, I don't think we need a backup quarterback. So I'm more willing to just go another running back since we already have 4 solid receivers. So I'm just going to go with. Normally, I do go with Matt Breida here due to the upside of him being the one on the team on San Francisco. And San Francisco is probably going to have a turn it around year with Jimmy Garoppolo being healthy. Even though I don't like Jimmy Garoppolo necessarily in fantasy, I think he's a good real life quarterback. So we're gonna go. Normally we go Matt Breida, but I want to go Malcolm Brown due to the fact that I'm still not completely sold on Darrell Henderson. And if it isn't Darrell Henderson being the 2, Malcolm Brown, since they signed him back, ends up being the 2, and Todd Gurley goes down because his knee is fucked and he has to ice it and he's out. We're gonna pick Malcolm Brown for that in case that is what happens. So we picked Malcolm Brown, followed by G. Reg Olson, Harrison Bucker, Michael Gallup, and then Denver defense. So we're going to go kicker here, and then I'm going to explain to you how to pick a defense. So we're going to go with Justin Tucker. After we go Justin Tucker, Stephen Gostkowski is picked, followed by Will Lutz, Kai Forbath, Jake Elliott. I'm not going to read off unless it's an actual player. Kyle Rudolph, Jimmy Graham, going really late now because I think people noticed that he's not the same Jimmy Graham he was when he was on Seattle or when he was on the Saints. Mitch Trubisky, who could end up being a great late round quarterback. I wouldn't have him as my only quarterback, but as the backup to a guy like Carson Wentz, I wouldn't mind having him. Kenny Stills, Jimmy Garoppolo, who I think won't be that great for fantasy. Jordan Reed, who I don't trust due to injuries. Devontae Parker, New York Jets, and now it's our pick for the defense. So the way you're going to pick a defense is you're going to Google NFL schedule week 1, and you're going to pick the defense playing as the shittiest opponent. I'm going to make a video about it in August, so click that subscribe button, click the notification bell to get notified for that, so that you know which defense to pick. And I haven't done that research yet, so we're just going with the highest ranked Dallas Cowboys. After we pick the Cowboys, Chris Thompson was picked, followed by Darwin Thompson. So I'm going to recap our roster. We got our starting quarterback is famous Jameis Winston. We got our 2 running backs as Josh Jacobs, Damian Williams. Our receivers are Devontae Adams, Tyler Boyd. Our tight end is Jared Cook. Our flex, who may not end up being our flex week 1, is David Montgomery. Our kicker and defense don't matter. Our bench is Lamar Miller, Sterling Shepard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Peyton Barber, Dion Lewis, and Malcolm Brown. So thank you guys all for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that you click that subscribe button, click the notification bell to get notified for all the videos, click the like button, and leave a comment saying whatever you want. I always respond to the comments, so that if you're down there in the comment section, just know that I'm always going to answer you. It may not be instantly, but within the day, I should respond. So have a great day, guys, and I will see you guys on Friday. Goodbye, guys.